Hello everyone, welcome to the walkthrough video of my first template that is now available for purchase. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use this template as well as how can you customize it. This template comes in 3 different BPMs, so the first step is to set up the desired BPM and then the drop files from the desired BPM folder. I will choose 140 for this video. And then you just go to the desired BPM folder and select all the audio files from that folder and drop them inside your DAW. After you drop all the drum stems inside your project, it's time to choose the bassline. So just go inside the folder of the bassline, and for this video I'm gonna choose the 4th one, the rolling bassline. And let's hear how does it sound. From bonus folder, you can drop the crash as well. The bassline for this template comes in E-tone, but there's a single note bassline from bonus folder which you can drop into the sampler and transpose it to any other desired note. If you want to use a stereo bassline, there are actually 2 ways of using the stereo bassline for this template. First way of getting the stereo bassline is to drop from layer 2 folder on top of the mono bassline that we already dropped inside our DAW. The layer 2 is actually just the side information for your bassline, so you can reduce the level of the layer 2 to the level of your choice. You can further customize the layer 2 of the bassline by dropping some effects. For example, Bit Crusher on top of it can get a crunchier layer 2 and a little bit more high information on the bassline. For now I showed you how to use the mono bassline and how to make stereo bassline with the layer 2, and now we can go to the stereo bass folder. From the bass folder, stereo, and I'm gonna choose again the rolling bassline. So this is only the kick and the stereo bassline and kick hi-hat. So this bassline is actually already stereo, and this bassline should not go with the mono bassline, but you can use the stereo bassline with the layer 2 as well. So there are actually 3 different ways to use the bassline in this template. Now, if you want to change and customize this template from track to track so it doesn't sound always the same, I'm going to show you 3 different ways how you can customize this but still have the same amazing results. Let's start with the bassline. So I added 3 different plugins from Waves on top of the bassline, and first one is TransX. When you load in the TransX, put the first band at 250 Hz and change the range for the first band to 0, to second on 0. And on third one on the mids, leave for 2 decibels, and on 4th one, also put on 0. So the bassline still sounds amazing and crunchy, and even a little bit more mids on top of it, and does not change the sound much. The second way to customize the bassline is with R-Bass from Waves, and you just need to insert it to set the frequency around 70 and intensity leave on -24, because the original bassline already had the airbus with some kind of intensity information. So to avoid a lot of information on the lower end, just insert it and set up to -24, and let's see how does it sound. And this plugin actually made it for guys who wants to bassline to have a more energy on the low end. So this is without. And third way to customize the bassline is actually with vitamin from waves as well. So you just need to insert it, and from a default you just need to play around with the first band, find the best position. I found out that 171 sounds good here, but you can play around and find the settings that you like. This is again A/B test with and without vitamin. The bassline, you can also change an EQ a little bit to sound a bit different and add a little bit more information on the low end. You can do that just boosting for 1.5 decibel on 81 Hz, which is actually the second harmonic of the bassline. When it comes to the triplet part, we're gonna copy the kick, we're gonna copy the kick hi-hat, we're gonna copy the clap and the snare. So now we go to the BPM folder of a template, choose the bass 9 or 10 or drop them inside the bass folder, and we go to the triplet drums and select all of them and just drag and drop them. Now, if you want to customize the kick, the best solution would be to add another closed hi-hat on top of the kick, and that way you can mask the kick, because all the high information that comes on top of the kick will actually take attention from the low end. So from track to track, if you just change the closed hi-hat on the kick, you can get a different character of the kick, and you can reuse this a lot of times. I'm using Nerve to drop in the samples, as I have a folder with good closed hi-hats here, and I will just go next and you will see how the kick is changing the character. One of the ways also to customize this template is also to change, for example, an open hi-hat, or to change a snare from a track to track, or even to change the clap on it, and even maybe to add some loops that will make the template to sound a little bit different. All the stems from this template have been designed to be loud. Your job is only to put a limiter on top of this to avoid any clipping. My advice is to use FabFilter Pro L2 because it has a really good true peak limiting. With the stems designed like this, you can reach a level of -3 or -4 RMS, but if you want and if you work in a lower levels, then you just need to select all of the stems and reduce the volume at the desired level. All of those stems are fully prepared and analogically processed to the SSL Fusion, Manley Massive Passive, Crane Song HEDD, Apogee DA16X, Dangerous Music Dbox, mixed and designed on Focal SM9 and tested on Barefoot Micro 27.